Hey guys, today is a very special video. We're going to be doing a video on a market analysis. So this video actually is for the channel Speaking Charts. So Speaking Charts has been one of my mentor channels. Is also a fellow trader, and we connected on YouTube. So we're just doing a collaboration. So this video is for his subscribers and mine. So today we'll just start with Bitcoin USD. So we'll just go over the recent signal that I got, and we'll just go over some strategies that I use. So I'm with if you don't know me, my name is Ilyas. I'm from Top One Markets. So I work at Top One Markets part-time. I'm a Top One author, so one of these guys. So I kind of write articles about the market every week. Mostly I do market analysis. So I focus on technical analysis. That's my strength. I do a little bit of fundamental analysis. I have taken classes in economics before, so so I do a little bit of fundamental analysis. So that's my background. I'm a computer science student in my third year now, going to my third year. So we'll just talk about what I recently noticed. So if you saw recently, so the indicators I'm using today, just to specify that, is I'm using just a default RSI, Relative Strength Index. I'm using a MACD default, and I'm using another MACD. As you can see, it's a faster MACD. So as you can see, recently we had a decline for Bitcoin. So we went from 21,000, whatever that was, 870 was a high, and we recently had lows of 19,766. So yesterday, so right now you can see that the RSI has a value of 31. So I think perhaps it might have got a little bit closer to 30, maybe in that candle here, because it closed higher. So the low was 19,766, but it actually closed at 20,045. So perhaps it might have dipped down to oversold. So what I usually look at for signals is I usually look at the RSI. So I kind of stick with I look at oversold zones and overbought zones. So recently on the 4-hour chart, there was a signal that I got from my faster MACD. As you can see, the lines are crossing. So the fast line, which is the blue line, is crossing over the signal line, which is the orange line. Actually, let me see which one it actually is. So okay, so the MACD line is the blue line. So the MACD line is crossing over the signal line and giving us a bullish signal. So as you can see, the histogram has been increasing. There's been some convergence. So you can see that we have the price decreasing, and we have the histogram increasing here. Same thing perhaps with the default MACD. So it's starting to move towards the zero line axis. So it's moving from negative infinity to positive infinity. So that's just what I looked at. So I saw that it was oversold. So right now we have a value of 25.86. So we can see that it was actually oversold. Initially was oversold here, and has been oversold for roughly a day now. So it's starting to converge up. So the entry was around 20,018. We had a high of 20,100. Actually, we've had a high of 20,150. So yeah, so it's been okay. I wouldn't hold it too long. Perhaps we'll see what the momentum can get if we have a default cross, and you can see that we might have a longer run like this. So it might run up for a while. But you can see that if the monthly has been declining, mainly because Jerome Powell, so the Fed chair of the United States, he's been increasing rates. So he's been increasing interest rates. So fundamentally, to fight inflation, Jerome Powell's been increasing interest rates. So that's been benefiting the US dollar. So as you can see, Bitcoin's correlated against the US dollar, right? Because it's BTC USD, so Bitcoin against the US dollar. So as you can see, the monthly chart hasn't been doing too well. We're still in a bearish kind of phase on the MACDs, right? We still haven't been oversold, but it's not for sure that we will get oversold. It has been running quite low, just fundamentally. Jerome Powell, the Fed chair of the United States for the federal bank, he's been increasing rates, so that's been beneficial for the U.S. dollar economically, right? Fundamentally, it's been benefiting the U.S. dollar. So we'll talk about the DXY in a minute. But yeah, basically that's why Bitcoin's been having trouble, along with the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100. So the major stock indexes in the US have been facing kind of problems because of Jerome Powell. He's been increasing the interest rates, so more people want to move money into the US dollar versus stocks. So the stock market's kind of been declining because they've had to pay more interest and they've had more fees versus banks are getting more money from currencies like US dollar because they're getting more money back from interest when they lend out mortgages and credit cards. They're getting more money back in US dollars. So yeah, so Bitcoin's been declining. That's why fundamentally Bitcoin's been declining. And that's why it's kind of risky to be holding too long. So perhaps you can just hold for maybe a couple days, or maybe at most a week. So just I'd recommend using MACD. So I stick to pretty simple stuff. I know there's a lot of new community scripts and indicators and all that, and there's always new indicators coming out, but just stick with the simple things, because banks, they pretty much just stick to the simple things. Like they just use relative strength index, they just use MACD, they just use moving averages. Perhaps they use some Bollinger Bands, Kellner channels, volume. It's usually pretty simple what they usually use. So yeah. Anyway, so that was one of the things I talked about. I talked about this on my profile on Top One, so we can talk about that at the end. But if we move on here, we can move on to the US dollar actually. So we'll just move on to the dollar strength index, just to show you guys what's happening here. So we've had the run up on the monthly. So as you can see, the monthly chart has been going up to overbought now. You can see the RSI we're in the overbought area, and we could still go higher. This is also fundamental because of Jerome Powell. He still thinks that they want to increase rates to fight inflation, because they believe inflation in the United States has been high. So perhaps the US dollar could be facing, like fundamentally, it could be going higher. So that's what mostly the market's watching for. What I saw the last few weeks definitely was, so we'll see the main basket of currencies in a sec. We'll just talk about a few of them. But you can see that we came up overbought, right? So we were initially not overbought. Here we came up 69, maybe a little bit of, we got something here. But default didn't cross until here. Until they showed that we had this strong selling pressure. So we went from positive, we went from positive infinity. You can see we're above the zero line, and we had the bearish signal here. The MACD line fell below the signal line, and you can see that we continue to move towards the zero axis on the y-axis here. We moved towards the zero origin. We didn't actually get the second signal where if the MACD line and the signal line move below together, they move below zero, then it would show more bearish signals, but we didn't have that yet. So here's an example where we, let's see, we moved above 0 here, right? So we moved, if you can see the yellow line here, we moved the MACD line and the signal line moved above 0. It's crossing 0, right? We had the signal cross here, right? That was signal 1. Signal 2, we moved above 0. So signal 2, we moved above 0, and you can see we had a lot of bullish momentum, 106 to 109, right? So we moved quite high. And the bears were perhaps expecting a move back below 0 would signal some more selling pressure, because of course we're quite overbought on monthly, right? So you want to look from outside in. So start with the biggest frame first, monthly, move down, weekly, move down, daily, move down. So we're almost overbought here. We were overbought here, a little bit of divergence here, but we can see that the bears were expecting to perhaps move back down to this, move. We have some support here, maybe some support here. So maybe the bears were expecting 106, 106.9. So if we could see, they were hoping for that. But the problem, if you saw on Friday, there was a speech. There was a Jackson Hole symposium. So the federal bank in the U.S. and along with perhaps other central banks in the world, they met in Jackson Hole, Wyoming for a conference. So they discussed the economy, and Jerome Powell had a speech on Friday, and he decided that he wanted to perhaps continue to increase rates, maybe if the inflation numbers aren't going down as expected. So he says in September they might do a rate hike, but they're wondering if it should be 75 basis points or 50 basis points, or if they want to take a break. So he was just saying that, and during that time the US dollar had lots of volatility. So you can find that all excuse me, so you can find that all in the investing.com economic calendar. So next time we can talk about that. So yeah, so we had that, and that was affecting what do we have here? So that was affecting the euro, because the euro is in the main basket of currencies for foreign exchange currencies. So we did have the signal here. RSI was again oversold. What do we have? Circle here. Okay, so we can see that RSI was overbought. Whoops, too big. So sorry, RSI was oversold around this area. So you can see in this area RSI started to become oversold, correct? So we had the initial below 30, less than 30. We continued to decline from a value of 26, 28. We continued to decline to a value of very low, which was 17. Not seen too often. Usually below 20, you don't see below 20. You don't see 17 too often. So we got quite oversold. You can see we had the initial signal here, which had a little bit of momentum, but it ended up crossing back down. And then we had the other signal here, which ran quite high, so on the faster MACD, and you can see that on the default MACD we had the signal that ran from, what price was this? 0.99793, so we had perhaps a strong gain if you were to hold through that. So yeah, so the main basket of currencies did well. So the pound US, the pound GBP USD, so the pound sterling against the US dollar, saw this pretty much the same move. with a little bit more decline at the end. Perhaps that isn't looking too good at this point, but it could always be that could always still move up on Sunday. It just depends how the DXY, how the dollar strength index will be opening up on Sunday. So just monitor that. Right now, to be honest, right now, unless it's really oversold or converging, right? Then there isn't too much opportunity in the middle. It could be risky in the middle, right? So yeah, so right now perhaps we could wait till it's either overbought or oversold, which would be the best option. The whole main basket, so USD JPY, the Japanese yen, it saw the similar move. Since it's a US dominant pair, it went short. So the Swiss franc also went short. USD CAD, so Canadian dollar, against the US, so the US went short against the Canadian dollar, same thing. Australian dollar had a rise, and New Zealand Kiwi had a rise too. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Ethereum's having the same signal, and then we had a request from Speaking Charts to do the Nifty index. So he's international, so a lot of his channel's international. So this is just one of the indexes that he likes to watch. So we can see that we had initially on the 4-hour at least, we had some signals here, so we came overbought. We had some signal here, potential, right? So that was exited on the cross back up, and then we were overbought again. We had a signal that had perhaps some, the first one wasn't too good, it seems. And the problem with, to be honest, the problem with indexes is there isn't as much volume as perhaps in like foreign exchange pairs. So foreign exchange pairs always have the most volume. They always work best with algorithms. They always work best with coded strategies. Perhaps Bitcoin would work a little bit better too. But Bitcoin's a little bit more manipulated, so just be careful. So just back on the Nifty for a sec. So just on that note, we did have the potential here. We had another signal here, which might have been okay for one candle. We had this opportunity. This one was not that good, and then we had another opportunity here, which was good. So maybe 3 out of 4 potential. So just be careful with stock indexes though. They also tend to move more so based on the higher indexes, the higher time frames. So yeah, so what's to watch this week? I'd probably just wait, to be honest, just to see how some of the reports are coming out. So I think this week we have the U.S. is releasing the economic report non-farm payrolls. So they'll be reporting an economic report. So you can find that by just searching for the economic calendar. And I'd perhaps just be watching this. So I'd be watching to see if perhaps Bitcoin could move a little bit higher. And this is the best asset to maybe be watching until the market opens. And then on Sunday, I'll be watching the DXY, perhaps to see how the US dollar will be opening up. So yeah, so this is just this was just a market analysis. So if you guys want, you can. So thanks, of course, thanks to Speaking Charts for giving me the opportunity to share some of my knowledge with his subscribers. So hope you guys learned a few things that I use. So Speaking Charts has some good strategies, and he talks more about some custom indicators that he likes. I guess they code them in Pine script, so he likes to discuss some custom indicators. He talks about the Nifty, and he talks about Bank Nifty, and he talks about Ethereum. So my subscribers, if you guys want to check them out, you guys can check them out. I'll leave a link in the description to the Speaking Charts channel. And for his subscribers, if you guys want to see my analysis on the Top 1 Markets app, you can find me on Top 1 Markets. So you can just go to the Google Play Store or the Apple Play Store, whatever they call it, Apple Store. You can go to the website here, top1markets.com. You can scroll down to get the app somewhere. Whoops. There should be able to, oh, here we go. So you can just scroll down here, award-winning community-based investment platform. So Top 1 Markets is big in China, so they're big in Taiwan, and they're big in Hong Kong. They're based there. They're also in Thailand, Malaysia, and places like that. I think they might also be in India too, and maybe like other in that region. I think they're in Philippines. So they're mainly in Hong Kong and Taiwan. So check them out. If you're international on the Speaking Charts channel, you should be able to open up an account if you're interested. If you're not, to just get my analysis, just get the app for iPhone or Android. Then you just click on community and you can find me. I post every day. I post an article almost every day or every day. So my name's Ilyas. You can find me there. And then my YouTube channel, if you guys want, it's a new YouTube channel. It's mainly just so I post some market analysis stuff. And then I also do coding videos. So I do like programming videos in C, and right now I just have C and Java. So we're going to be doing a Linux tutorial, and we're going to be doing Python and C#. So if you're interested in that, maybe you're going to be making some software for trading. So you guys can check that out. And thanks again to the Speaking Charts channel, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video. So take care. Thanks.